Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Just looking at my screen to make sure it's working. We look like we're live. Hello, it is Sunday night and it is time for another live stream. Hello to everyone in the chat. I hope you are all safe and well. There are 41 of you here at the moment, not in the chat, obviously, but there are 41 people watching. I'm just going to let it roll on a little bit just to allow it to get up to the usual 2,000 to 3,000 that we obviously have on a Sunday. Yeah, just see if we can get it over 100 before I start. I hope you're all safe and well. It has been a quiet-ish week in FPV, although there's lots going on in the background. I can promise you that. Hello, Wes. How are you? Hope you're safe and well, my friend. And yeah, been a very interesting time, actually. And it's nice that things are a little bit quieter because it's allowing me to do some stuff in the background that I haven't had a chance to do. And there's lots of things I've wanted to do. And I love reviews, but reviews take up a lot of time. There's still some reviews I've got to finish, nonetheless, that, you know, they still come through. But I've been playing today and doing a bit more deep diving into some cool stuff like Gemini and testing it in real world. And I don't mean flying, but literally throwing everything I can at it in a test environment. And not just Gemini, Express ELRS as well. And I will say this, right? If you get a failsafe in Express ELRS, at times I'm not sure how that's possible because the things I've done to Express ELRS today, and it held up. Incredible. And I managed to get it to failsafe. To be able to get Express ELRS to play up, right? And when I mean play up, I don't mean drop the link. Drop the link is easy. What I actually want is dropped packets that have a visible effect in beta flight so I can demonstrate a difference in modes. So if you imagine being able to see beta flight sort of jump between failsafe, non-failsafe. So some of the packets are getting through and some of it are not. And at one point, genuinely, I ended up having my Express ELRS transmitter in my house on the lowest power setting, the receiver in here, and between that in here, both HearLink and a DJI Mavic on 2.4 gigs, and Express ELRS was still working. And when I say congested, let me just do this and see if I can find some of the footage of the... Let me just find it. It'll be... No, that's not that one. Change the view so I can actually see the videos. And I'll show... And it was to try and sort of... And I did manage to achieve what I wanted. Not easy, I will add. But I did manage to achieve it. If I put that full screen and go back to there, right? So to give you an idea, this here to this here is the Express ELRS band. You can't actually see the Express ELRS signals in this because they are, you know, in this noise floor right down here. But what you've got here is HearLink here, DJI Mavic 2 Pro here, and the DJI RC control link all bouncing here, sitting, I am crapping you not, on top of the Express ELRS receiver, yet it was still receiving a signal. It was incredible just how Express ELRS cuts through. But I did manage to get it to play up in the end. My friends are all fail-safing. If they're fail-safing, there is something wrong. And look, we've all fail-safe, but you've got to take into account 2.4 gigs will always be different to Crossfire. However, Express ELRS also works on 900 megs. And we're getting to the point of what actually is the point of Crossfire. So we'll have to wait and see. Because the problem is with Crossfire, you can't freaking buy it. It will fail-safe. I fail-safed it, but the resilience around RF signals is incredible. And what I would say is, it's all about antennas. It is all about antennas. And actually, just to show you something, this one here might be the right one. No, it's not the right one. Is it this one? So with all of that RF I just showed you, this was the result in Betaflight. So yes, we were dropping packets and fail-safing. And this was what I was trying to achieve. It was still this was the stage I was trying to get to, was to get it to the stage where the RC link would play up. And that's what I was trying to achieve. Why aren't many people running ExpressRS on 900? I think genuinely there has been a lack of manufacturers jumping on board to 900 megs hardware in the past. And as Wes says, we just need someone to make some high quality 900 megs hardware. And when that happens, genuinely, I'm not sure what the point of Crossfire will be. And look, I'm not saying Crossfire is bad, but you need to understand something. And we'll come on to let me finish this actually. I was on TBS today, and they have no stock of transmitters at all. Do the 2.4 gigs ExpressRS antennas also work on 900 megs? No, you need bigger antennas. But TBS have no stock, and look, so if we were to see what happens in ExpressRS 2.4, which would happen in 900, then I think Crossfire has a problem. Genuinely, it will have a problem. Anyways, I was just wondering about the ExpressRS antennas. They're so much smaller than 900 megs. It's easy for them to be mounted horizontal. Nulls are pretty sensitive. The nulls on 2.4 will be more sensitive than they will be on 900. The nulls on 2.4 are actually the real problem. There are some really nice proper diversity receivers out for ExpressRS right now, and I would... The smaller wavelength, the null will have a much bigger effect because you have a much smaller gain on the antenna as well. So I would expect the nulls on 2.4 to be a much bigger issue. I would expect it to be a much, much bigger issue. In theory, a null is a null at the end of the day. But what you've got to take into account is if you think about antenna gain, these 2.4 gigs tend to have lower gain antennas. And that's probably where I think more people see issues with ExpressRS is probably on the nulls. I did myself. I have nulled an ExpressRS antenna. Yeah, I think what's interesting, and this isn't a subject I was going to start with actually, but what is interesting is it has been two stories with RC. We've had ExpressRS take over 2.4, and no one really put effort into 900 megs, and TBS just tick along. But imagine all of this great work that's been done in ExpressRS. So you got Airport. Around the corner is Mavlink RC. Mavlink RC is, in my opinion, potentially game-changing for long range. It's not game-changing in the sense of it's a huge difference, but it's one set of radios. my Mavlink RC is just going to be bloody cool. So you'll have the telemetry link and the RC link on the same, just doing it. So you'll be able to have Mavlink and RC at the same time. But I think what the 900 has sort of lacked is an open source push. And look, TBS have a great product. I love Crossfire. I like Crossfire. But it isn't easily available at the moment, and the development has stalled. There's no development on Crossfire now, and there still isn't a bloody Crossfire Mambo. And here's the thing to think about is, you know, if we get some decent modules, you can have 2.4 gigs Express ELRS 1 watt built in the Boxer, and you could chuck a module in the back. Yeah, they had an encryption, didn't they? But look. That's good. It's good if they are working on stuff. Look, we all love TBS, and I've said this before. TBS is a brand I have a lot of time for. They've been around since the beginnings of FPV. I do like Trappy. I do like TBS. But I do also get frustrated from them. So, right. Anyways, to start off tonight, before we move forward, I want to just do something very specific, okay? You may or may not have seen, and I'm not on screen for some reason because I haven't enabled broadcast, and I bet it's on the wrong camera. No, it's not. It's on the right one. I don't know if you've seen, but Bruce has been having some arguments and issues with his local council. And Bruce has been talking about it on his XJet channel. And look, I don't know the ins and outs of all of this. I'm not sure I want to know the ins and outs of everything, but Bruce has been obviously battling them. Things seem to have been coming to a head, and I have followed it closely from what Bruce has been saying, but there's always more to everything than meets the eye. You know, we've got Bruce's side of things, and I'm not saying he's lying, but there's always, you know, like, we don't know the whole story. But anyway, look, and it has accumulated in Bruce sort of coming up against some brick walls. Now, Bruce did put a video out asking for everyone's help to contact the council. And look, I love Bruce. I think Bruce is amazing. I did not write a letter to that council. I wouldn't write a letter to any council on anyone's behalf. I'm sorry. I just don't feel that's the right way to do it. But what I also want to say is this. Bruce has also put a community post up in the last 24 hours, just saying his health has taken a turn for the worse in the past few days. You expect him to take a while to deal with this setback, so he's stepping away from the internet for a while to focus on ways to mitigate the problem. If the channel disappears during that time, you want to thank John, and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. I'm in no state to deal with this right now. The channel gets 3 strikes and deleted from YouTube for violating community standards. If the channel is still here, I'll be back, but we'll wait and see. Now, look, the first thing I just want to say out to Bruce is, look, I wouldn't be an FPV without Bruce. I think I do class him as sort of an FPV friend. We don't talk a lot, but I'm on SUAS News with him. First of all, I want to wish him all of the best. If there's anything, Bruce, I can do specifically with regards to anything other than writing a letter to the council, I don't think that's the answer. But look, from me to you personally, I hope you're well, my friend, and I hope you get over it. And whatever it is, I hope you get everything sorted. You know, Bruce does have Parkinson's, for those who don't know. And he is an incredible part of the community. And look, over the last few years, Bruce has been more about regulation and through XJet and all of that. But there is very few people who have the experience, the impact on drones, FPV, and anything else than Bruce. He is just phenomenal. I know he is suffering at the moment from copyright strikes, and it's an interesting situation, and there are lessons to be learned here for everyone. And that is, look, I think it's videos where Bruce has had people in before, whether it be public or whether it be people in or around him. And one or more of those people, and I'm not going to say their name, I'm not highlighting it, has now decided that they don't want to be part of this, or they don't want their name or face online. And they've started raising copyright strikes against his channel. Now, I think the lesson in this is you've really got to be careful who you have in your video. And, oh, wow, I'm going to come on to that in a minute. I think you've got to be really careful who you have on a longevity point of view. And I think it's complicated. It's really, really complicated. More than anything, I just want to send peace and love to Bruce, and I just wish him all the best. He is genuinely a hero of mine, and I really hope he gets it sorted. I really do. The council issue is a tough one. Because I always have this opinion as if you can comply with a rule, you should. Bruce's opinion is very, very different on that stuff. And look, Bruce will want to go to war. Unfortunately, sometimes you have got to be careful. I'm going to come back to Victor in 2 minutes, Victor. I'll come back to that. I just want to get this finished. I think you got to be careful the battles you pick to make sure you can win them. And it's a weird situation because we've had someone who's obviously been in his content. Whether the consent on that was done before or not, I don't know. But the reality is they're now saying it's not, and they're now raising copyright strikes as a result of that. And it's just a strange situation. And it's one to learn from if you make content. Just be careful who is in your videos. Because as Bruce has said, YouTube is very unforgiving. And look, Bruce has got 2 very big channels, but from a size point of view, Bruce is a minnow. YouTube won't even talk to people below 10 million subs. And there is a very complex situation. Bad Flaggers, I don't know. They weren't like friends. Maybe I don't know, but the story is not having friends in a new video seems a bit much. Look, the problem is someone can be a friend today and not tomorrow. Look, what you get into is politics. Look, Bruce is in a political situation with the council. That is going to overspill to people around him, and people who may be a friend today may decide tomorrow, what's my computer doing? That they are not, and they stop. So it's tough. Okay, so that's it just for me. Peace and love to Bruce. Right, I just need to sort something out because Vector Parallax has donated 10 memberships out on the channel. I just want to say a huge thank you for doing that, my friend. I'm astonished. I did turn on memberships on the channel a few weeks ago. I'm not sure anyone noticed, but I did turn them on, and he's just donated 10 of them out, which is incredible. Thank you to that. I am astonished. That's incredible. Really do appreciate it. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing, my friend. Captain America copyright strikes incoming. Yeah, probably in the background. If that's the case, my channel is offline. If that's the case, I'm a dunner. I think that the situation with Bruce is complex because I think he's been operating within a technicality, and it looks like they want to close that technicality. But the question is, are they doing that for him or everyone? And that's where Bruce's argument, I think, is, from what I understand. And look, dirty politics. Look, politics is dirty. Dealing with government and councils is dirty, messy, and don't expect to get treated fairly. That's just reality. I live in that world of mindset. And look, we can all sit here and say things shouldn't work like that. No, they bloody shouldn't, but they do. And sometimes you've got to play people at their own game and play them better than they are. And that is the world we're in. And sometimes, look, you can die on a mountain of righteousness being 100% correct. And that is the problem. But Bruce does have Parkinson's and his health is always the issue. And like, we just hope he gets it sorted. But like, I don't want to go on about it forever at the end of the day. But I did just want to send peace and love from me. Okay, so moving on to tonight's subjects. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about this BetaFPV stuff that's arrived, and I'm starting to do some testing on that. We're also going to talk about a DIY thermal camera. When I say a DIY thermal camera, what I actually mean is this. I'm talking about one of these USB-C smartphone cameras that you can get online for about $200, $250, and then using an RPI to be able to get it via HDMI output. And we're actually going to start with this because I've got it up here. And really, the idea of this is I've seen lots of people talk about thermal and doing it DIY and how cheap it can be done. And the reality is thermal cameras are still very, very expensive when we're talking about flares, a few $3,000, $4,000. But all of these small smartphone cameras, and I've reviewed 3 or 4 of these on the channel now, and I love these. Right? I love these cameras. I've got this one. I've got the other ones, which I've reviewed up there. And these you can get between $250 and $500, right? And what I've been looking at is how we get one of these as a thermal solution, not for FPV, but for drones and using it on other equipment. And I've been working on, like, what is the easiest way to do this? And it turns out, so far, it is with a Raspberry Pi. Now, this has been actually installed with Android. It isn't actually running Linux. Well, it is running Linux, but it's running Android. And what we've got is a version of Android on there. So if I just go over to the HD60 here, no, not that one there. It's running a version of Android, which allows me to do some customization, but then use it with these thermal cameras. Now, what I've ended up having to do is, because these are USB-C, I ended up having to order in one of these USB-C adapters. In theory, the USB-C port on this is OTG, but I couldn't actually get it to work with that. However, I have got it to work with this. And the nice thing is, what we can actually do is, if we go back to there, I got a separate mouse. So what we're going to do is open the app. When I find my mouse. Where is it? I've lost the mouse. Why can't I see the mouse on the Pi? Let me unplug the USB and plug it back in. Turn the mouse off and back on. Oh, that's weird. Why have I lost the mouse? Has it crashed? I wonder if it's crashed. Should we reboot? Oh, well, that's interesting. Is it the HD60 that's crashed? Oh my God, my HD60 has crashed. Wow. That's good. One moment. Let me see what's going on. It looks like it's the HD60 that's stopped working, because that is not what is on the display right now. Oh, wow. Look. Let's just check. I'm trying to see if I can get... You gotta love live demos. You have gotta love a live demo. Wow. I actually heard that fail in when we were streaming. I'm just swapping USB ports a minute. All according to the plan, they say. Now, this is worrying because... Right. That looked better. The problem is whether OBS is going to play ball now. Now, I've rebooted this. But we're going to have to see if this actually kicks in. Hey, we're up and running. Okay, we're back. Okay, so Right. So we have an RPI, or Pi, whatever you want to bloody call it. So we've got one of them there. You can see we have movement on the mouse. We're now working. So what I'm going to do is open up the P2 Pro. I do wonder if mine overheated a little bit. So the app is opened and it's asking me to plug the camera in. So what we're going to do is plug it in on USB. And we're going to wait and see. It kicks in. There we go. And I'm just going to change to landscape mode so you guys can see it properly. And then you can see... Oh, I've got the camera upside down. Let me change it the right way around. Oh, there we go. So you can now see the thermal output from this camera being outputted via HDMI. Now, the idea of this is to be able to come up with a thermal option. There you go. You can see there. I'm going to grab my cup of tea. Now, this one doesn't have the fastest refresh rate. This one. It's my cup of tea. How's the tea looking? Say warm. Oh, yeah, quite hot. Just going back out with it. But the idea is we can make and come up with a fairly cheap thermal camera. And the nice thing is that there are lots of other options. We can change the color palette. We can change everything. You can see the quads up there in the background. But this would be doable for under $500. I look 20 years younger. Yeah. I don't look as fat, that's for sure. So, it's something I am working on. And look, this isn't going to go in an FPV quad. That's for sure. But it is really quite cool to see, isn't it? And look, these thermal imagers don't have the highest resolution. But it is an option. Very cool indeed. Very cool indeed. So, it's something I'm working on. There will be a video about it at some point. But an RPI, good for a tank project. It's, I think, look, there is no thermal camera that you can get really under sort of $1,000 that's going to give you this. So it is really interesting. And it's gonna, look, it gives some really cool options, and there's some really good versions of these thermal cameras out there. I have a filter on my iPhone that does it for free. Is it true thermal? It's not a true thermal, is it? This is the Enquiries P2 Pro. So for those who haven't seen this, I do have a review of it on the channel. This is the Enquiries P2 Pro. Now, there is a better camera for this, which is the HX09. So for those who haven't seen, there is one which I just reviewed, which has the HX09, XH09, I think it is. Let me just find it. My review actually is the one that's now coming up on YouTube for it. The XH09, this one is ideal for outdoors. The XH09. So if we go, actually no, that's not right. That's Enquiries, but it's not the one I want. Let's go to Enquiries.com, and then they've got various sensors. They are on offer at the moment. Products. Thermal cameras for smartphone. XH09. This one has a 2 times a narrower field of view. This is the one I've just reviewed. This is the one for drone use. This is, I would love it. Unfortunately, mine is Lightning, so mine isn't bloody USB-C. I would love the USB-C version of this camera. This one has 50 Hertz resolution. Well worth a look. Well worth a look if you're looking for one of these. There's lots of really cheap thermal imagers coming out of China right now. Pi runs off 12 volt, 3 amp, right? 50 hertz is viable. Yeah, that other one is 25 hertz, but it pauses for refresh. But the 50 hertz cam is really good. But it is an interesting scenario. So I just wanted to share that. It is something I'm working on. It's quite a cool little project. You're going to probably see it on an Ardra Pilot build. XH09. So this is the 50 hertz one. Let me find it on AliExpress. If you go to AliExpress and search for XH09, go off. Oh, for God's sake. Get rid of all this crap. I don't want it. XH09. Thermal camera. Let's find it. It'll be here somewhere. XH. It's Enquiries, it is. I do have the link to their official store. It's just the website is a bit difficult to get through at times. They do have an official store, which I have a link for, but it's this camera here. T2, not T2. I want the T2 Pro, not the T2. See, that's the T2. I don't want the T2 Pro. I want the XH09. So you click on something, and it's not the one you want. That one there, is it? There we go. XH09. That's the Lightning version. That's the USB-C version. I wish I had the USB-C version of this camera. I wish I had the USB-C version. That cam is the bee's knees. Flare 1 Gen 3. But yeah, this I've just put a review of this on the channel. If you're interested in seeing what this camera can do, it's very, very good for outdoor use. Really is. So that's that. Right. The next thing I want to talk a little bit about is these DJI cameras available on AliExpress, because there's been a lot of sort of confusion over these. Now, I've spoke about these before, and I put a video out on this saying, warning, these may not work. And there's a lot of confusion because I think Albert Kim's just put a video out where he sort of showed the same, and people seem to have not listened to what I've said in the video. Now, the basics are, on AliExpress, you can get DJI camera module, I think it's called. It's something like that. Let me just find it. DJI 03 camera module. Let me just see if I can find it here. I can't actually remember the name of what it's called. I might have to look on my AliExpress history. I might have to look on my phone. Let's see. Can I see it? DJI module avatar. Is it coming up now? No. They have a weird name to them. They do. Let me just find it on mine because I ordered it. AliExpress. Go away with the... You know, adverts on these websites. Honestly. Okay, so it is called Camera Chip Module for Avatar. It should be. Still not coming up. Let me just come off and log in. If I log in, I don't know which one I am. Try that one. Oh God, that's not working. E56B. This is weird. This is weird. Right, let me share. I'm going to send it to myself. If I send it to myself, why does it want access to my photos? Well, what is going on? Tracking link. I don't care about a tracking link. Copy link to clipboard. I don't care. Right, I'm going to paste it on my Discord in the live chat, and that way I can get to it then. Right. There's a click link to it on my Discord, and let's see if this now works. Let's see. Way, found it. Okay. This thing, $28 for the camera chip module. Now, I put a video out saying, look, these don't work properly, and that is the case. Now, here, I actually have my second one. My first one I've sent off to someone else a minute to see if they can get it to work, because I had one. Someone then broke their camera that I know, and I said, well, mine isn't working. I'll send it to you. Go and have a look and see if yours works. Here is a second one that I've bought from a different supplier. Because the irony is, after I gave away the one I had, I broke a lens on one of them myself, so I needed one again. So I've ended up ordering a second one. Now, this came from a different supplier, and it is exactly the same as the other one. Now, the situation with this one is, this camera works in the sense of it gives an image. It seems to record fine. It seems to do everything you expect it to do, apart from, as someone has already said, it will not calibrate. I have tried the calibration. It fails. You have to power the whole system up to calibrate it, but the camera will not activate, or it will not download the let me just get that off my Discord. It will not activate, and it will not calibrate at all. Now, I have a theory on these cameras. I'm just going to post the link in the Discord. I actually have a theory. Now, gyro data does appear to work. So, when you put the footage into GyroFlow, it does appear to be there. However, that isn't to say it is fully synchronized correctly. DJI is obviously doing some form of calibration, and we don't know what it is. So, you cannot get rid of the calibration error message, but it does appear that the cameras work. Now, the reason I put that video out is, whilst mine works, the first one I had wouldn't calibrate and then wouldn't work. There are people who have said theirs works not at all. It won't work at all. There are some that say theirs has worked fine. Yeah, I've seen zero evidence of anyone buying one of these and it actually calibrating. There is a chance it will work and never calibrate. There is a chance it will not work. I think these cameras are one of two things, okay? It is, without doubt, a genuine module. I've had this under the microscope, and it is, without any doubt, a genuine module. I think they are either being sold out by the factory that makes them on DJI's behalf before they go into DJI, or they're factory rejects. The DJI official cameras, if you buy them, will calibrate and activate fine. But I think they are either factory rejects or they're being sold first. Now, there is logic to saying Did I download the firmware? Yes, I downloaded the firmware. It will not calibrate. There is no amount of firmware or trying to calibrate. It will not calibrate. It fails every single time. I wouldn't be shocked if the way this works is DJI do some form of calibration testing at the factory before shipping them out. So the cameras are made by their manufacturer. They go to DJI. They either end up on air units or they all go through some form of testing. DJI then log that in their servers because he actually has to download that calibration data from DJI. And I think these cameras are either not in the server or they were factory rejects. Now, it wouldn't be the first time that factory reject parts have made it out into the wild. This actually happened with the Mavic Pro. DJI used a plastic lens in the Mavic Pro, and there were a load of them that started to cloud, and they had focus issues. And what we noticed after a while of release, there was like all of these really cheap replaceable camera modules available online. And it was a lot of them were the factory rejects of the problem. And that was the issue. Or these are being sold out under the grey market without ever ending up at DJI. Now, are these any good as a lens replacement? Yes, absolutely. So if you want to use one of these to replace a lens, like I've broke on this one here, this lens is smashed. This lens has already been, I've removed the glue on this. So let me just zoom in. The glue has been removed on this broken lens already. So there's the sensor in there. Can I replace the lens? Yes, absolutely. So these cameras, they are absolutely a good option to replace the lens. No question at all. You know, you're going to have to refocus it. There is a glue that's around the side, but once you pick it out, it will release. Does it work? Yes. But it shows up calibration error all of the time. And what we don't know today is what the effect of that calibration error is. We just don't know. We don't know what the effect of that calibration is. Gyroflow definitely works, but is it in sync? Is it out of sync? Is there a drift issue, as someone mentioned in the chat? We simply don't know. Is there a sensor offset calibration? We don't know. But you can change the lens. So is it worth it to get a replacement lens? Absolutely. $28 if you're willing to do the work. $28 for a replacement lens is cheaper than the money for an 03 camera. By far. By far. So it's a great deal for a lens, but what it's not is a great deal as a replacement camera. And that's why I still won't recommend people run out and buy them to replace their camera. And I don't know a single person, and I would love if there is anyone who has got one of these AliExpress cameras to calibrate, please let me know. I'm not talking bought from DJI. I'm not talking come in a DJI box. This needs to have turned up in a basic white box from one of these sellers for $28. I ain't talking about you bought one on AliExpress that come in a DJI box for $90. I don't mean them. I'm talking the cheap replacement modules, because I do think some people have got confused. I do think some people have gone, oh, I bought a DJI 03 camera off AliExpress and it worked fine, but they probably bought an official DJI 03 camera off AliExpress. They're a great deal as a replacement lens. I've had actually mine under the microscope. Mine isn't used. Mine is brand new. My module is definitely brand new. I don't think it's come out of anything. I think if it had come out of another quad or a replacement, it would calibrate. Either factory defects or they're being pushed off early. And I wouldn't be shocked at the latter. I wouldn't be shocked at the latter. Grey market exists. Quite big style. How easy is it to unscrew the lens? It is quite easy. You have to pick away the glue, and I have a video coming on this because I'm going to be doing it on this one. I'm going to show you how to do the lens. I'm not going to use this as a replacement camera. It's not difficult. The biggest challenge is going to be you're going to need to reseal it and just get it focused. Yeah, it's a shame. To be honest, what you want is that factory just to sell the lens, because it is a waste. You just want some probably epoxy just to reseal it. Any news on OpenIPC? No, I haven't had a chance. I've got everything here apart from the backs. I'm going to order the backs this week, and I'll start looking at it over the next week. I had heard a rumor that Flywoo were going to release lenses, and it just never happened. I'll also say in my teardown, oh no, that one of this camera, I can see why the O3 lens breaks. There is like no gap around that outside at all. There's just no gap there whatsoever. It's actually a shame you can't just unscrew the board off the back. It's glued. What would have been great is if you didn't have to mess with the lens or the focus, you could just unscrew the PCB off the back. That would have been fantastic. I will say, though, the molding is slightly different between these. And there is something else I've noticed, right? Let me show you this. I don't know how easy you can see this under this camera. I could do it with a microscope. My original lens looks burnt on the sides, and it's hard to show you here, and I'm going to have to do it under the microscope. But the original lens on each side looks burnt, like it's gone through some really high heat treatment, whereas this one doesn't, which is weird. Is part of DJI's calibration testing some high temperature test? I just don't know. But the sides of the board on this look actually burnt on the edges. You can see it there. Can you see how dark that is? I don't know how easy it's going to be. Let me refocus. No, not that way. Not that way. Oh, here we go. Right, let me find where we are. Right, we're there. Oh, no, not there. That way. There. Look at that. Look at the edge of that board. It actually looks burnt. And it's the same on the other side. It's weird. Really, really weird. Yet the new camera doesn't have that. And I have no idea what to make of that. The way they cut, that's the only thing I can think of. But the other one is pristine. That's the bit that's confused me. The other one is like perfect. I thought that, is it like the laser that just goes, do they just laser cut it? It's weird. It's weird, weird, weird. But there will be a video coming on the lens replacement. The lens replacement's fairly easy. You're just unscrewing one once you break the glue. But you're going to need some epoxy to set it, just to reset it. That's all. They have some like black removable stuff. Well, no, that's my original one. That's like that. That's the official DJI one. The new replacement isn't like that. The AliExpress one isn't like that. That's the DJI one is like that. The official one. Could be the way they cut the PCBs. Bit weird, though. Bit weird indeed. But it's very noticeable under the microscope. And I mean, like, very noticeable. under the scope, you sort of go, hey, what? What? Any news on the Cadex 4K lens? Nothing. All I can tell you is Cadex put a post online saying they will soon release a 4K camera. Who do you want us to send it to? I know a load of people gave them my name. They then reached out and said, hey, we're going to send you this 4K camera as soon as it's ready. And I've heard nothing since. Look, what I will say is this, and this may upset them. Cadex have an awful habit of talking complete bollocks when it comes to release timescales. Their marketing department, time and time again, has said things that are dubious at best and other times out and out lies. Now, in recent times, the lies are really not so much. However, they way over-exaggerate what they're... And I'm not saying they lie. I think what happens with Cadex is this. They go, oh, we're going to work on a 4K. Their engineers go, oh, yeah, we're working on a 4K camera. It'll be a little while, and we're going to release it. Within 10 minutes, their marketing guys have put on Facebook, hey, guys, we're releasing a 4K camera soon. Tell us who you want us to send it to, and you're going to love this. And I think that's how it works. Worse than DJI. DJI is fantastic when it comes to... DJI don't lie. DJI don't always deliver what they should, but DJI don't lie. They deliver when they say they're going to deliver. Cadex, at times, their marketing talks complete and utter bollocks. Now, I know the goggles have been somewhat delayed. I'm not shocked on that, and that's nothing to do. I think, look, they're manufacturing themselves. I think that's probably been a bit slower than they thought. They're coming out now. People are getting their goggles. Everyone seems happy. I've seen no reports of issues with the early batches. I'm watching really closely, really closely, because at the end of the day, I've given my thoughts on the goggles. I didn't tell everyone to rush out and buy them, but I obviously... I didn't say don't, but I'm watching things very carefully. HDZero goggles had delays. Look, new products have delays. I'm more than happy to forgive them over that. What they've got to stop doing is going, all right, we're thinking of doing this. And the engineers go, yeah, we can do that. And then 10 minutes later on Facebook saying, hey, we've got this. We're going to release it soon. There's a very big difference between... we're working on something, or hey, we've got this, it's available to buy. And they just need to stop with that. Mavic 2 Pro release, yeah, that's the DJI had some problems back then. It's much better today with DJI. They've nailed on point now. They're much better now. The Mavic Pro was the worst. Not the Mavic 2 Pro, the Mavic Pro was horrific. New case. Oh, you got the case sorted. That's great news. Hello, Curry. How are you, my friend? Question. Hey, Ian, is the weather completely pants for you as well? I'm not sure if I'm going to get out again this year. The rate is going 100%. So, I have a video I am waiting to finish of the Defender 16 and the Defender 20 for my flight. It's looking like Tuesday is going to be the day that I fly them. I've flown them a little bit, but I've just got nothing for the video. You're going to get very little footage from me on it because I want that video finished and done and out the door. For the remainder of winter, I do have concerns. I probably won't be flying much now. It's got very bad. It's raining here today. It's raining all the time. at the moment. I need to get those 2 finished. Look, more than anything, I'll be honest, what I want to do on the Defender 1625 is just look for any jello and any unknown issues. I'm not really looking to sit there and go, look at this amazing footage you can get from this quad. What I want to just make sure is, really simply, flying flat, level, and forward, is that there's no stupid issues around jello or anything like that, is what I want to make sure. And just have a feel for it. You need sunshine video. Yeah, but I just mean vibration. Look, you're always going to get jello on O3 in bright conditions. O3 is still susceptible. What I'm looking for is hardware-related issues. Now, there is sun. Look, there is going to be a very unusual video coming from me very, very soon, because I did say yes to something that I fancied having a look at in winter, as I won't be flying that much. Yes, you are going to see an electric scooter. Only one. I intend to do one strange, random video. It is here. It's down there looking at me. I got some thoughts I'll be sharing on it, that's for sure. Not all good. I promise you that. You're going to get the usual no-nonsense response from me. I can promise you that. But I do intend... Look, I really, really fancied something to try. And use just completely out the ballpark. No one's paying me to do this. No one's, this. Look, I get videos. I get asked all the time to talk about webcams, routers, hubs, freaking, I don't know, electric bikes, scooters. I've turned down probably 30 or 40 scooters. But I decided I wanted to do something a little bit different just because I fancied it. And I don't know what the score is. They can take it back if they don't like the video. I don't care about that. It was never about that. I wanted, when you see something goes, I'd like to try that. And I just fancied it. And that's what I've decided to do. It hasn't burnt the build into the ground yet, which is a bonus. Some of the build quality, I will add, is dubious at best, is the term I'll use, but it's a somewhat off-road scooter. Wait 1 second. Fucking heavy. If you want to know what it is, there. Weighs an absolute ton. But it has suspension. But there will only be one. There will only be one. I promise you that. The general content on this channel is 3D printing drones. But I wanted to try one. And this, I spent a bit of time looking through everything. And this isn't really even, I wanted to keep one. I just want to try one. Windjumper FPV. Sorry, I've not seen your question. I want to be able to have each quad on different power levels of resolution and megabits. You can't. It's not set. It's set by the goggles off the top of my head. That's a lot of weight to push when it goes flat. Yes. It weighs a ton. But yeah, but other than that, winter is going to be slow for me. Winter is, Curry, it's going to be... Look, I've got some projects I want to finish. I've got some stuff I don't want to talk about. Look, I've got a bunch of 3D printing videos I have in my head I'd like to get out regarding FPV and 3D printing. And then I've got a bunch of stuff I just want to test. I want to get back to the testing. But flight-wise, I was asked to look at another quad, and I've said yes, because I think it's very interesting. But that might be the end of it this year. Although, this does lead me on nicely, actually, and it's really good timing, and I'm going to go to YouTube, because this does lead me on nicely to Mr. Chris Rosser, who has some new frames coming. And they actually look really interesting. And if you don't know who Chris is AOS RC, and he has put up a... Let me just mute that a minute, and I'm just going to show quickly for those who haven't seen. Chris does have some new FPV frames coming. Also skip the ad. Let me just get it here. He's got... Let me just go to let's just get to this bit. So we got a new AOS 5 version 5. Looks nice and looks a bit thicker than before. And look, what I'm really pleased to see is Chris looks like he's done a really great job with the front end. He's given you lots of multiple options on the mounting. Definitely O3 ready this. Remember, I was the one that criticised the JB frame. I think it's JB, but if you're going to call something O3 ready, it's got to have a soft mount option, in my opinion. And this does. As you can see, the truss design is gone. And Chris is going now with a full arm design. And it is integrating what I think he's patented, this vibration isolation system. The 3.5 looks fat. And it's this vibration isolation system here. He's got press nuts, which I think is really cool. And yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting to see. Very interesting to see indeed. I'll probably pick up an AOS 5 if Chris sends me one, or if not, I'm really interested in looking at one of these. They do look a bit skinny without the bracing. Yeah, they do look a different quad, but he's got this, you know, this vibration isolation area. And again, he's gone for a much wider front camera plate, which is nice. And what's good about it, right, is I think he's done a real good job here, right? So, aluminium front end with replaceable panels. You can hard mount the camera if you want to, but you can also soft mount it as well. He's got a silicone insert which is available, or you'll be able to 3D print your own inserts as well in TPU. And I'm really pleased he's including the silicone inserts as standard. Now, I'm sure that silicone insert, if I'm right, let me just find it. Is that not the same one that comes on the Nazgul? No, it's not the same one that comes on the Nazgul, actually. The Nazgul one is smaller, so that must be a different one. I think that's a really nice... I think he's done some nice touches. 5.5-inch props it'll take as well on the frames. And, yeah, I think some really, really nice-looking frames. About my only complaint, and I will make a complaint, and I haven't seen it yet, is he has stretched the frame out a little bit, and what it now means is if you're using it with O3, props are not in view, but you need an extended camera cable, which is just a little bit annoying on the 5.5 Vision 5. Yeah, Chris mentioned it there, look, you need the extended cable, and the only reason... I think that's annoying is it's just an extra you've got to buy. What I would actually like, and genuinely what I think Chris should do, and I could be wrong here, is I think Chris should bundle the cable with the sale and add the cost. Because what would be annoying for me is having everything and then suddenly realised I need the cable. Mike Bergman's, where was the comment? Sorry to all of you who've just bought the previous version, which could have been 5 different times in the last year. Yes, there has been a lot of revisions. But yeah, for me, I think I'd like to see Chris bundle the cable at cost. And just jang it on the cost. You got to have it anyway. And that way, you're never going to not have one. You're just never not going to have it. Because what will be worse is you've got everything ready and you're going, oh, bloody hell, I need a cable. I did think about, could you not just put the O3 behind the camera? I thought of that. Someone asked about that just now. I think it does look like there's a bit of space there. But they do look nice frames. They really do look nice frames. So, look, I probably will build one of them. The likelihood is it will be with Chris's motors. I have Chris's motors here ready to try. I won't be reviewing them because reviewing them... I can't review a motor. I don't have the out-and-out technical equipment and expertise to back up any claims from a manufacturer on a motor. I am going to have a look at them. They're here. I've looked at them. I haven't flown them yet. I just haven't had time. I'm a bit behind on content. I'm sorry, Chris, but it's been how it is. I'm going to talk about them. I think they're really, really nice. I think in the end, can you back up the allegations isn't the term. Can you back up what's the term I'm thinking of? What they're saying. Claims. Yes. Can they back up the claims? And I don't think I'm going to be able to do that in a video. So what you're going to get is a product showcase, which I wouldn't call a review. Yeah, I couldn't think of the term claims. He's selling a bigger motor than what is printed on the motor. Yes, he is. Probably make a build video. Yeah, that's probably what I would do with it. Back up the bouteille. Yeah. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, hey, this is the best motor in the world. What is actually really interesting and something I've noticed from Chris's motor testing videos, and he's just done a bigger motor test video, and someone did say something funny, is, are we expecting a larger motor from Chris? Wouldn't be surprised. I think it's... Look, what I'm seeing is logical. Cheaper motors tend to be not as good. More expensive motors tend to be better. Most of the stuff in the mid-range is pretty good. What's in the mid-range is arguably hard to justify is dramatically worse than the top end. So let's say the other motor is X% more efficient, which is going to be greater for long range. What real world effect is there on that? And that's what we're not really seeing in the data. So look, Chris has done some amazing motor testing. He really has. But the bit we don't know is, so he can sit there and say, you know, this motor is more efficient by 10%. That could be great on paper. But what does that 10% really look like in real world? So when you're flying long range, pointing that direction, is that motor going to give you 10 seconds more, 20 seconds more, 40 seconds more, a minute more? What we need to understand isn't on a test bench the effect. It's the real world. Because let's just take Chris's motors. They're very, very nice. They are incredibly nice. But you're talking about £40 a set more over set of Zings. What is that £40 buying you in real world? And that is the bit in all of this we don't understand. Because for me, a motor, and you know, you could say this motor is the best motor, but it's the most efficient. But if that efficiency actually ends up at 1 minute, then is that is it, you know, 30 seconds? Is that the difference? That's the question. And that's the bit I've not understood yet in any of the testing. You know, and here would be a test. Here's a genuine test. Here's a test I'd like to see. How long you have a motor on a calculator, on a prop, that is ran at 50% throttle continuously to 1500 milliamp hour of draw. How long did you get? The test I'd like to see is you have a motor on a PSU to hold the voltage up, and then you run it on a an ammeter or an accumulator, which cuts off at 1500 milliamp of draw in total. And how long did you get? And then you do the same with all of the motors. You measure the run time for the motor at a fixed milliamp hour rating. And you do that at a fixed voltage as well. That way, your only difference, your only change is the efficiency of the motor. So that's my thoughts. But the frame, I actually genuinely think, honestly, I genuinely think I like the look. I like Chris's frame. I've always liked Chris's frame. I genuinely think that looks a nice frame. Someone says it's looking more and more like the Apex. It's still a bit wider. But they do look, genuinely, I think the 5 looks really nice. I want top speed with the... Yeah. You know, you could have a test of runtime on 1500 milliamp hour at 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. And what you get. All with the same prop. And then let's see what really matters. Yeah, I think the one test that Chris does do, which is very interesting, is torque and thrust. So that is absolutely noticeable effect. The punch out effect you would feel, you know, you're going to get that. Have awful carbon, sharp edges are never smooth. That's interesting. I don't know where you're having yours cut. See, my AOSs come from iFlight. So they were doing his carbon. So I've only used the iFlight AOSs. I don't know what CNC drones have been like. I don't know what those ones are like. So anyway, that's that. That's the new frames from Chris. I will be doing the motor overview in the near future, but it's not going to be a review. Now, before we move on to some questions, I'm going to next talk about these. And if I go to the overhead, there you can see nothing. I suppose I really should refocus that camera. Woo. There we go. Okay, come on. Right, so I want to just quickly talk. And now I will have a full video coming on these because actually these are really nice. But if you haven't seen, BetaFPV have their Gemini series of equipment. I'm going to be doing a full review, but I'm going to be talking about Gemini as well. Now, if you don't know what Gemini is, I should do my little party trick, right? There are lots of different modes in Express LRS. So you've got your normal mode, you've got your D mode, you've got your F modes, right? So you've got modes in Express LRS, which is your normal 50 Hz. You've got your D modes, which will transmit the packets twice or 3 times on the same frequency. And then you've got your F modes, which is your fast modes, depending on if you want FLRC or if you want LoRa or whatever you want. So Express LRS already has some like interesting redundancy or interesting ways of doing things. So in the standard 50 Hz mode, it just sends a packet and moves frequency. In the D modes, it might send the packet twice on the same frequency and then hop. So it might go packet 1, packet 2, then move on. And that isn't the same packet twice. It's just packet 1, then the next packet stays on the same frequency and then it hops. And it might do that 2 or 3 times and move around. Gemini, though, is different. Gemini is not diversity. Gemini is sending the same data twice, but on different sections of the available band. So I'm going to do my hand trick again. I've done this before. If you think about the way Express LRS works, is it sends a packet, it hops over to here, it sends another packet, hops over to there, sends a packet, hops over to there, sends a packet, and is constantly doing this, okay? In D modes, it might be send a packet, jump over to here, send a packet, jump over to here. But that's basically what it's doing. But what you've only got at any one point in time is one packet being sent. Now, the interesting thing with Gemini is what they actually do is take 2 transmitters a receiver that can receive proper diversity, not just antenna diversity, but 2 independent front ends. And then what happens is you send in the same packet here and here, and then the same packet here and here, and the same packet here and here. Now, people confuse Gemini being about increased range performance. It is not about range. Gemini is not about better range than any of the other modes. Gemini is about band interference. Gemini is about sending packets as redundancy. It isn't about being able to fly further than you can in the other modes. It's the effect of what else is on the band. So, for instance, if you were flying ultra long range in a complete zero noise floor environment, Gemini basically wouldn't make a difference. Gemini would behave exactly the same in all essence. Both packets would be received at the same level. What's key here, Gemini comes in when you've got this crap going on, like I'm showing here on the screen. Let me just find it. When you're flying and you've got this happening. Because think about this right now, okay? If I just explain what you've got here, Express LMS might transmit a packet here, then it might transmit a packet here. Well, this packet is then going to get lost. Then this packet here will transmit, and then it'll be fine. And then it'll transmit there, and that packet might get lost. The idea is, what it might do when it sends a packet here is also send a packet here in the clear area, and whilst this packet won't make it through, this packet will. So the real key to Gemini is it's sending the same data, but on 2 different parts of the available band at the same time. So if there was interference here where this packet was sent, this one will still make it through. And that is the key here. Don't think about this as out and out range. It'll allow you to fly further in a congested environment. But the theory is it's going to cut through in heavily noisy and congested environments much better. And that is the key to Gemini. And that's why I've been doing it this way to try and test it. And that is what is going to really be very interesting about this. Now, BetaFPV, to be fair to them, have sent me a bunch of stuff to look at. And they have sent me their new Gemini receiver, which is the Super D, which we'll be talking about in the future. This is a full, proper, dual front-end telemetry receiver. It's not antenna diversity. It's got 2 full SX128-1s, I think it is, not 128-0s, on board. And then they have their frankly astonishing, and I say it's astonishing because of the size, their G receipt transmitter for your radio, which is a nano bay. And this thing, right? This thing has dual 1-watt transmitters inside. Now, I've done the teardown on this today, and I have to say the build quality on this is really quite good. And in fact, the heat sink is really, really nice. What they've done in here, let me find the picture. I posted this on the Express ELRS thing earlier. The heatsink is really, really nice. It really is. It has this, let me just open it in a browser, this copper heatsink inside, which is mounted to the board. It's just really well done. Really, really well done. It's a really, really nice transmitter, this. But it's incredible what they've been able to pack on this. Dual 1 watts. You've got Skyworks preamplifiers, power amplifiers. You've got SX128-1s for the front-end RF chipsets. Full dual RF front end. Really nicely made. There's zero I can complain about on this transmitter. It really is. And it has this really cool heatsink design where there's a thermal pad that goes on top of this. That goes to the front heatsink. Really quite nice indeed. So I'm going to be talking about this in the future, but it is really very well put together. It's really well done. I also want to say, though, they have this bit of kit, which you can buy. Now, this is so handy, it's ridiculous. And I don't know, does anyone else make one of these? This is a Nano to JR Bay. That is so bloody handy, and you can buy it separately. They sent me two. Is it Nano? Microbait and... Oh, no! Wait a minute. Wait a minute, is that the same? Yeah, no, that's the same. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's the same. They did send me one. Sorry, I thought I was confused then. I thought it was something different. So that's one of them, which is really cool. That is so handy. That is ridiculous. They do have multiple receivers available, which I'll be talking about soon as well. We have the 14-channel PWM, which is very nice to see, which also has a I2C inputs. But I'm really looking forward to testing this because I've been doing a bit today and I've had to try and set up a situation to demonstrate how it works. I just wish I could slow down the transmission below 50 hertz. Express ELRS dev team, if I could have a custom piece of... I can't remember, did I ask this? I'm sure I asked Wes this. Is there any way I can reduce the hop pattern to like 5 or 10 hertz? Yeah, it does. It's really cool, the Bay adapter. The Bay adapter is ridiculously... If I understood correctly, the Express ELRS guys are also working on Gemini TXRX to support the dedicated Mavlink connection instead of redundancy. The Zorro is a very good radio, but apart from the lack of battery. I'd love to drop it. I'm sure, did I ask about this? I want to drop it down to like 5 hertz to be able to show it on the video, on the spectrums, or even, not even 5 hertz. I'd love to do 1 hertz. 1 hertz would be bang on, because you'd see like bam, 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 bam. And it would look really good on the spectrum waterfall. Because everything else is just a bit fast to demonstrate it. It's actually really cool when you start looking at the D modes and Express ELRS, the amount of data it's spitting in. But actually, I showed this the other day. Actually, I'll show you something else. This waterfall is the switch from Gemini to non-Gemini. So this bottom half is non-Gemini, and the top half is Gemini. And just look at how much more data is in the waterfall. It's huge. It's a massive difference. A massive difference. One question I do have, as we have Express ELRS devs here, when you switch modes whilst it's connected, so from Gemini to say 1TX or 1TX to Gemini, does that update live? Does the receiver then change mode, or does it only set the mode on initial connection? I'm intrigued. Because I'm guessing the receiver takes its mode from the transmitter, because you don't set the mode on the receiver. So I'm guessing when you set the mode, when is the handshake, say from 1TX to Gemini, or when it switches, we send sync packets for mode changes. So for instance, if you were set to 1TX and then you changed it to Gemini, it would send sync packets and then say, hey, you can go into Gemini mode now. Mr. Huggy said, doesn't FR Sky have a dual 2.4 and 900 TXRX? They do. FR Sky does have a nice dual setup. Apart from the fact that it's made by FR Sky. So they do have, it's not even their tandem line. I should stop saying bad things about FR Sky. Otherwise, I'll get hunted down by woo. It's a bit of an inside joke for the people on my Discord. And I'm not going to do the full, yeah. Yeah, I should. Wes said, no, I shouldn't. Yeah, it's their ethos line, isn't it? I do, look, I really like the look of the tandem, the big tandem. The big tandem does look a very nice radio. Genuinely, it does look a very nice radio. They had that special edition that you have to beg for. But yeah, they have their receivers and they then have their dual series. Archer. Is it the Archer? Is the dual series? I think. Is it Archer? Let's have a look. Oh no, twin. Sorry, it's the twin. Oh. That's transmitter. Sorry. Dual. Which one is it? TD. There it is. TDSR18. So the smallest one they have is the TDMX, looking at it. So that is dual band receivers. Works simultaneously on both 900 megs. Look, I love this idea. I do love this idea. I can't deny that. The idea is bloody fantastic. So there's 3 antennas. So you got 2 antennas for 2.4 and 1 antenna for 900 by the look of it. Look, I can't deny I don't think that's pretty cool. However, here's a question. How much is it? How much is it? 32 quid in the UK. Oh, that's interesting, Wes. Okay, that is very interesting. Wow. Okay. Any noise from Fat Shark yet? No. Any noise from HDZero yet? Maybe soon. 32 quid for the receiver. What I think is going to be interesting is if you think Express ELRS 2.4 gigs, the good receivers are like $15 to $20. If we could have something like really nice in the 900 megs at that price, I think it'll be game on then. There's no reason why... No, there isn't no reason why Express ELRS Gemini couldn't do the same. Absolutely not. No, that's just work for the guys, that's all. Woohoo! But yeah, so Gemini is really interesting. Really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing... I've done some testing. I'm just trying to get the right test setup balance to be able to really demonstrate the benefits of it. A slower hot pattern would be really cool. A slower hot pattern would be really cool. That would just help me do that. That really would. But yeah, what I will say is this, and Wes will be able to answer this for me. I don't know how close the BetaFPV team worked with you guys on this, but the quality on this module is outstanding. I will say this, and this isn't... it isn't something I'm quite used to saying about BetaFPV, if I'm honest. Let's be open and honest. We've all had our chance to say something about them in the past, but the quality on that module and their receivers, I've torn down all of this. All of this has been torn down. Bob on. Bob on. It really... As good as any other brand on the market. Really is. It's just and in fact, I'd go as far as to say what they've done with that module is innovative. The size they have crammed that into is really impressive. 2 1-watt transmitters, backpack functionality. Yeah, it really is. Its size is optimized just so much. It really is. Can't complain. Can't complain at all. Which is really good to see. They absolutely had QA. You know, look, I'm not going to hide from that fact. They absolutely had QA issues in the past. They really did. They really did. Right. Before we move on, I just want to say thank you to, again, Vector Parallax for the memberships he donated earlier. Look, super chats are not needed for a question, but I should do some shilling, but they are welcome. And as always, there's a Patreon somewhere if you're interested. BetaFPV did an unbelievable amount of work, research, and photos with this module. They really have made a valuable contribution to the Express Ride project in a single piece of hardware. It is outstanding. Yeah, I was just the engineering in it is very, very good. Very, very good. I can't, that module is just, yeah. Very, very good indeed. I haven't done the RF power tests yet. That's the only thing I haven't done. But I've seen the Skyworks PAs in this, so really well done. Really, really well done. Okay, what else did I have in the dock? Let me just remind myself, because it's been a while. Oh, I think I've covered most of the subjects. We can move on to Q&A. If you've got any questions, please do put them in the chat. While I wait for them to come in, I just want to talk a bit about this week. So, there will be a new video on the channel tomorrow. I can't tell you about that, but there will be a video coming on the channel tomorrow. In the middle of the week, I will be talking about the Goggles X. Just a video talking about the antennas and swapping around. Someone did ask, do I think the Goggles X will arrive before Christmas? I would like to think so. Look, if they don't, if the pre-orders roam on much longer, I am going to have to make a video about it and say, come on, you're taking the mickey now. What's interesting is I can look at this 2 sides. So, when I did the review, I had very little information, okay? I promise you this. I was being sent firmware every 24 hours. I was basically not getting questions answered at times. Although they did rush to answer the question of the RF issue on transmit, and they were very quick to say, yes, it will be fixed, but they didn't fix it by the time I finished the video, therefore that issue went into the video. Since that period to today, I've had no contact really with them over the goggles. I've asked 1 or 2 questions, and I got a very short reply. I've not been sent any new firmware to test. I have nothing. I have no idea of anything to do with anything that they've said with regards to the antenna. I've not seen this extra antenna. It's not sent to me. I don't know a single person who has had one of those antennas. It seems that they've had their head down getting the production out. So, as long as they start shipping now, I think everyone will be okay. I understand the delay. They're doing it for the first time. Is that pre-production or an actual retail unit? Well, mine came retail. Mine has to be pre-production because if it wasn't, the production would be out there. What we don't know is how far along. Look, what I would say my goggles are probably PVT, which is production verification test. So you batch out the hardware to make sure that you don't have any issues. What I can't say is, look, there's nothing I'm aware of has changed. There were issues I highlighted in the review, which I've not heard about, like the line above the displays. I'll be interested to see how many people pick up on that in the real world. I did mention that in the review. I don't have any complaints with the goggles, but now we're at the stage of, come on, let's get them out into people's hands. They are shipping. People are getting them now. If I'd have known the delay was this long, I would have probably made a comment on that in the video. I was expecting the delay to be a couple of weeks based on what I'd heard. I didn't quite anticipate it would be this long. Now, it affects people twofold. There are people with pre-orders who are cancelling them. So what does that mean for CADX? Well, what that means for CADX is that they're losing sales. But what does that actually mean for the creators? Well, as CADX are a company that heavily promoted to the creators about using their affiliate scheme, it also means that creators are losing out. Now, I don't care. It's not my problem. I've not even looked. I don't care. I put a link on mine so you guys got 5% off. I have a link on my review that gives you 5% off the CADX store. That's the reason that's there. I'm going to use an affiliate link if it gives you 5% off. That's a win for you. That's a win. And I'll take their money they give me and use it to buy the new set of DJI goggles that comes out in January. And give you 5% off. That's a win for me. I'm more than happy for CADX to pay for me to be able to buy the next DJI set of goggles. That's true. That's the truth of it. That's what the benefit of that link brought to this channel. They basically got to pay for me to buy 04. Thank you very much. That's the real. That's fact. Look. You have to look. I look at things in a very interesting way at times, and I think, okay, if they want to give my followers 5% off and pay me for doing that, I'll do that, and I'll use that to go and buy the next product to review. Everything I take in on this channel is used to buy the next product to review. That's how it works. That's just fact. So, but this is also affecting people. And I'm intrigued to see how that pans out. I don't care. It doesn't matter for me if I get $10 from them or $200 from them. It won't be that much. Trust me. The commission rate was very low. I haven't sold that many sets. So I'll put the money towards it. But the reality is they are also affecting the people that they made a lot of promises to. And I find that quite interesting. Sorry, I've got a cold if I'm sniffing. I've had it for weeks. Now, I'm going to say something now, actually, on this whole subject, and that is affiliate links. In the past, I have steered away from affiliate links on this channel for a number of reasons. I felt that when you're doing a review, there are people who will always say, if there's an affiliate link, you're bought. And I took a lot of time to think about that, and I saw that opinion and agreed. And I don't agree the person was bought. What I agreed was it brings into question the integrity. However, as the channel has grown, I've learned that basically anything I do brings into question the integrity. So, for instance, here's something people don't know. One of the first reviews I put an affiliate link on was the HDZero goggles from HDZero. I didn't shout about it. No one really noticed it. No one complained my review was biased. No one said I was overly positive or I gave the most honest review I could give. That video was an hour long. About the same time as CADX, actually. And I dropped it on there on purpose to see what happened. And what I've learned is this. People are going to complain that I'm biased for receiving the product for free. They're going to complain I'm biased for having an affiliate link. They're going to complain I'm biased for not having an affiliate link with one brand as I am over another. They're going to complain whatever I do. So I've now taken a very simple stance. Where there is a benefit for either you or the channel, I will choose an affiliate link. YouTube income is is probably the lowest I've had all year on the channel, okay? I can promise you that. That's a reality of the world we're in. FPV is on this bit of a down thing. So, where I feel there is benefit, and the manufacturer is genuine. Now, everyone asks me to put an affiliate link on, and I don't. And what I've decided is, if I trust the manufacturer to deliver a good product. So here's a company. Take Radio Master. They just deliver. Whereas if I was asked today by BetaFPV to put an affiliate link on, I'd be a bit, you know what? I'm not sure I'm comfortable. Based on this, I would. But based on everything else, I'm not so comfortable. So what I've decided is where I feel I can trust the brand works well, and there's a benefit, I will do it. But it isn't every video. It isn't everything. It's specific brands that I trust. The reality is this. If anyone thinks an opinion will be swayed by a 3% on average affiliate income, I'm not Bardwell, right? I'm not driving 50,000 views a video and thousands of clicks. If anyone thinks 3% even on a $400 purchase is going to make anything any different to bias, you're mental. You're mad. Here's the truth, right? Here's what people don't get, right? I bought and returned, and it's the first time I've done this, actually, but I bought the goggles Integra to review, and then I returned them. Thank you, Amazon. That video has had decent views. It's been up for probably a year now, I think, maybe. The total income from that video, let me just check it now, live. The total income from that video. So if I was to buy that product, so the question would be, well, why do you need income? Well, look, if you're spending £400 on something to talk about, just to review, then you need to be able to cover off that cost. Okay, so let's not pretend things cost money. They do. So that Integra review, published the 1st of, it was this year, was it? Actually, I've lost it. Analytics, let me go to the index. So this is what, £400 goggles, 430, something like that. The total income on that video, as of today, that video has got 77,000 views. So it's a good video. It's done all right. And the estimated total income is about £190 in total. Okay? So to buy them, I would, and that is the peak of the reviewers at the start. From here down, that video is making like no money. So to buy them to talk about, I would have lost probably £300. There is no math that works out for buying a product to talk about and keep. The only time you keep it is if you need it. Now, where I've probably covered my costs is on the Avata with the goggles too, because I've made a lot of content over a period of time. But when you have a single product, look, here's exactly the scenario. Skyzone 04X's, Skyzone 04X Pro, right now. A review has just gone up on this goggle if you haven't seen it. It looks really interesting. Because I couldn't afford to keep them. Well, someone just asked, why did I return the Integras? Because I couldn't afford to keep them. Because I just couldn't afford to keep them. That's why I returned them. Because if I didn't, I would not have the money. It's really simple. But here's the scenario. Skyzone 04X Pros. I could buy those goggles, say, $500. By the time I pay tax, by the time I pay everything, I'm probably going to be £500-600 in. I will never make that money back. Never, ever, ever make that money back. There is not a magic pot of money that all of this stuff gets paid for forever. I'm really amazing because we have Patreons who donate to the channel, and I have the YouTube income, and now we have a very small amount of affiliate revenue. Them together mean today, if DJI tomorrow dropped, I don't know, a 04 with a set of goggles 3, I can just go and buy them. The channel is now in the position where I'm not sitting here, and I have in the past had sat here and gone, look, guys, I'd love to buy these. I just can't afford to do it. I could now today go, just pick them up. Now, what there isn't is enough money here to go and buy a Mavic 3 Pro, a set of DJI goggles, and an Inspire 3. There is a slush fund that exists within the channel, and that is enough for me to today probably buy whatever I would need to buy to make content on. Now, could I afford to go out and buy a set of 04X Pros? Yes, I can do it tomorrow if I need to. But that would mean if DJI released something in January or February, I wouldn't be able to do it. That you know, look, there's no infinite amount of money here. And that's the reality. You know, he's been bought when I come on the channel with a full head of hair, yeah. Look, I don't care how much money anyone gives me. It will never sway my opinion. My opinion is my opinion. I don't care if I piss off Radio Master. I don't care if I upset Bamboo Labs, DJI, HDZero, Cadex FPV. I tell you the truth and how I feel. No amount of money changes that. And I'll always answer a question if I can, you know. And look, that's the reality. And look, but I have decided moving forward there will be affiliate links available on the channel on certain brands that I trust because they make good products. And that's the reality. And, you know, that's how I run this ship. And look, this channel still costs me money most years. This is probably the year, like, actually, you know, if I take this year, right, the donations and the support allowed me to buy this camera this year. And look, I don't know if Curry's still here. Curry Kitten, he's an amazing guy, love him. Anyone who thinks those of us who do this make loads of money, honestly, and Curry will back it up, the YouTube revenue, it's barely enough at times to do anything. It really isn't. If I added up the hourly rate on this channel, it would be it doesn't add up. And I feel for anyone trying to do this full time. Look, I'm in the position I can turn this off tomorrow and get on with my life. How's Beta Flight 4.4 now? Is it stable? Yeah, it is, I think. I've not heard anything otherwise. Although I think there's still work being done on the GPS stuff. You know, what you should never be, I've got to the stage now, and I've learned over the last few months especially, is people are going to get upset with me whatever I do, so I should just do it in the way I want to do it and try and be as open, as honest as I can. And that's all I'll ever do. Or the HDZero Freestyle Verse add-on to his beginner series. Yeah, look, JB does some great videos on, like, beginner stuff. That's not a world I'm in. Have I thought about doing a beginner series? I have. It's not really my world. I don't really know how much people would be interested in me doing a complete start-to-end beginner video. Look, JB's beginner video makes sense to a point because he also sells a frame kit. And that's sort of, there's logic there. And I think that does, make sense. JB's got his kit. I don't know. Look, I used to do a lot of beginner stuff. I used to do a lot of beginner stuff in ArduPilot, and I haven't made that much. And look, I know JB's done an ArduPilot video recently, and I think JB's going to be doing a bit more ArduPilot stuff, and that's interesting. And it has made me think, actually, do I go back to it? Someone's asked about the Rover project. It's there over there. It's been hacked around a little bit, but it's fine. And it has made me think, do I go back to doing some more ArduPilot content? I haven't done much for a while. I do actually have one I'm working on, and it's been a really slow burner. Really slow burner. There may be some more coming anyway, because there is some products coming. I've always made ArduPilot product. The reason I stopped with a lot of it was it keeps changing. So if you take into account, I did a load of videos on the CAN bus stuff and how to set it up, and then it all changed. And that's the problem with ArduPilot at times. It moves forward a lot faster than Betaflight does. And look, here's the genuine truth. There isn't... Maverick RC, I'll be covering that. There isn't that much interest. Now, JB's probably had really great views on his ArduPilot content from his audience who don't know a lot about it. I actually don't have the same audience as JB. There are a lot of you who already know a lot about ArduPilot. You've been using it as long as I have, if not longer. You know, I've used ArduPilot a huge amount. Look, I'm not going to hide the fact. When JB was making that video, he asked me a number of questions. That's a fact. JB, me and JB had a bunch of messages back and forth before his video went out, just on questions on various topics around ArduPilot, because he knows I've dealt with it a lot in the past. I will help JB as much as I help anyone. I've helped anyone. I don't charge for it. It's someone sends me a message saying, hey, can we have a chat about this? I'll generally answer it if I can. And I did do that with JB. He asked me some questions on his ArduPilot build. I don't know. I haven't watched his videos, so I know the kit he's got. He's got the same kit as me. But I have been thinking of, do I want to make more ArduPilot stuff? I don't know. You know, it's... Yeah, no, look, JB is the big gorilla in the room, and always has been. And I was intrigued of how he found ArduPilot, because it made me laugh, because he sort of sent me a message, and it was quite like, so what does it do? And I was like, it won't do a lot. It'll hover, it'll move around, and I think he found it quite boring compared to... I don't know what he said in his video, so I think he found it quite boring compared to FPV. What does it do? Not much, really. It's what... Look, ArduPilot, PX4, that build platform is about what you can do, not what it is. It's a development platform. You then got to start diving into the sensor capability. And I'm not talking about bloody things like downward sensors. I'm talking about what you can do with multiple GPS, sensor fusion, RTK, and start getting into the real interesting stuff around sensor logic. And then you get into CAN bus capabilities on a large build platform and how you then expand that out. That's where ArduPilot is interesting. That's why that poster is there. You know, and I've made a lot of... It's been a while since I've done an ArduPilot series. It's been quite a long time. You know, like I've made more content on Here, Link, and the Cube than anyone else. You know, that's... It was always a lot of content I made. I just found it in recent times... It's... I suppose that I did do a complete build basics with the PX4 build. I don't find build series is that... Like, the problem with doing a build series is they don't generally perform very well. And they change, you know, and... I don't know. It's... it's Autopilot is really good. It's amazing. I use it. I literally use it daily. Look, I've just reached across, and what have I picked up? A cube. There is always an Autopilot flight controller within arm's reach on my bench. There is always one. Let's see how many people have got one of them. Right. On that note, I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to say a massive thank you to our friend tonight who donated 10 memberships. And I also want to say a huge thank you to the €3 from Dutch Biker. You are incredible, my friend. Victor Parallax, incredible. Just thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. As I said at the start, we do now have memberships available on the channel. There is a Patreon as well as Buy Me a Coffee if you're interested. And there's also a link to my Discord server somewhere if you want to see us. Stay safe. Quite an interesting video coming tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Watch this space. A series of videos eating chasing JB. I hope it'll be cool. Yeah, look, I just give some free advice as I do everyone. Anyway. Look after yourself, stay safe, and I will speak to you soon. Can never end a bloody stream gracefully. And just remember,